Hello guys, and welcome to this new series. This new channel actually, this is my first video. So this will be a series about an introduction to programming. Now this is very abstract concept, so this will not only apply to the programming languages that I will use throughout this, but you will be able to apply to this to most other common languages. Now languages you've probably heard of, like Java, Python, C++, which is what I'll be primarily using, and C#, JavaScript, and so on. So these are the most common languages. These are the most, from my perspective, useful languages in what I do. But you don't have to take my word for it. So this series is just the beginning. This is just to try it out because I haven't seen many tutorials on just coding. I've mostly seen them on just to a certain language, such as Python. So I'm trying to attack the problem from a more broad perspective. And so this will be explaining all the very basic concepts and how to apply them to other languages, when to use them, when not to use them, and so forth. So, I mean, there's possibilities for other series. If there's anything you guys want, such as, I don't know, if you guys really want to learn about Python, if you guys really want to learn about graphics, game making, anything like that, I'll be ready to make a tutorial for it, help you out. And so the future for this series, I'm hoping, will be the first few videos will be about very basic concepts. They should be weekly on Saturdays at noon exactly. But if not, they'll probably be published a little bit after. But the first few videos will be about simple things like variables and functions and classes, and you don't need to know this. This may be all new, and it doesn't matter. But this series will basically just introduce you to all those concepts which you might need to know to program. Well, you do need to know to program. So the next video I already know of because I've already planned it, and it'll be explaining how this and why this little program will print out hello world to the screen. So this is just a very basic program, kind of shows you how it works, and I'll be kind of looking at it from the computer's perspective. So you'll kind of get into the mindset of the computer and understand why maybe it would have issues with some code and why maybe it wouldn't. And I'll get into how the computer interprets your code, because it's not just like a human. And yeah, so that'll be it for this series. This is a short series introduction, but hopefully there'll be some more interesting stuff because we're just starting with Hello World. I'm also planning to kind of make examples. So I've recently just made a real quick small game of Pong, which I'm sure you guys might want to learn to make because it's kind of the framework for anything, any game you might want to make, any RPGs. I won't really get into 3D because that's a much more complicated concept and maybe not immediately suited for C++. You would probably want other frameworks or programs such as Unity. But for the sake of this series, for the sake of my knowledge, for the sake of what you might want to learn, this will strictly be about how to code. And so I've queued up an example. This is not mine. This is from the makers of Open Frameworks, which is kind of a third-party extension of C++ to let you do graphics, which is what I think I'll be using. There might also be SFML, which is another one. But this is what I'll use to kind of show you guys how to do graphics later on. If ever you guys want to learn that, I'll be available to make these sort of videos. So I'm going to give the credit to James George, apparently, on this date for having made this program. So I'll just kind of show you a quick preview. And so this just makes a sphere, and you can kind of drag it. That's really cool. And the way I've looked at it, it looks quite easy to make. So I'm sure I'll probably be making a tutorial for this sort of application. But I mean, again, all credits to James George. But yeah, so if you guys have any questions about any videos I make, if there's a concept you don't feel as though I've explained adequately, feel free to leave a comment, and I will probably kind of append a very small video to the series for you guys to understand that concept a little bit better, and I'll cater to individual cases and try to explain thoroughly. But yes, one more thing, I'll be using Visual Studio for most of this series, but I realize that you guys may not all have Windows, and you may not all want to have to install Visual Studio. So if anybody asks, I'll probably make a tutorial for Xcode. And if you guys are on Linux, which I kind of doubt you are if you're watching this tutorial, but if you are, there's a multitude of applications, of which I'll put the link in the description. I'll kind of put very small and concise instructions on how to install these in the description with links. But for now, this should get you started, and expect an explanation of this very short program next video, which will be next Saturday, well, whenever next Saturday is, the 13th, there we go. So expect it the 13th, and yeah, any questions, and feel free to leave a comment. Thanks.